Good Monday morning to you. This is the VELCO Weather Hazards Outlook. This is valid the rest of today, Monday, through next Friday, July the 3rd. We're looking at a slightly active weather pattern with threats of widely scattered afternoon thunderstorms roughly from Tuesday, Wednesday, into Thursday. Some of these will be benign, but a few may approach strong limits, especially Wednesday and perhaps Thursday, as a little higher wind fields may work into the region. The next tentatively good project weather date that remains dry all day long but still threatened just a bit looks like on Friday, this coming July the 3rd. Unusually erratic modeling and low confidence thereafter, and we'll take a look at that with the European model score. Currently, right now, we are looking at conditions that are improving but a pretty dismally gray Thursday. This dismally gray start to the work week was started back with the last weather system that moved in on Saturday night and into Sunday. This is a Saturday night here, and this is a lot of flow coming in from the Gulf of Mexico. And of course, it teamed up and was rather cool with an active warm front across the region, producing copious amounts of rain, and also some wind issues, especially in central and southern sections along the western slopes of the Green Mountains. Since then, this is where things stand right now. We're looking at really starting in through the overnight period. We're seeing the leftovers of the upper level system here that's been swirling around and now tracking off to the north and east. It's going to be getting out of our hair, and we should see improving conditions with little bits of intervals of sunshine in some locations a little bit later on today. Looking at some of the weather, we still have a few light showers and a few spots in some areas of drizzle, but for the most part, starting to see some breaks in the clouds. All good news there. Temperatures are a little bit slow to respond, as to be the case with cooler air funneling in from the north and west. However, temperatures are making a rise through the 60s currently. And this is model skills, European and the GFS comparison here. First off, anything below 7 is regarded as very poor forecasting. You get up in the 8, the 8.5 is considered a little bit on the shaky side. And then anything above 9 is pretty good. You get up to 9.5, that's real accurate. And it was that way if you look back February through March and into April. Roughly about the mid part of April, we took a hit with the modeling and the GFS and the European. The European being in blue is a little bit better accuracy. You can see some of the numbers here, last 365 days. Skill has been 90.6, GFS about 87.8. Last 30 days, you can see those skills have fallen. And over the last 7 days, even less so. And you can see a little bit of a downward trend. I think a lot of this is not handling the big Pacific North American ridge, a lot of cutoffs out over the Atlantic Ocean and so forth. So Northern Hemisphere modeling has been suffering just a bit. This is a downtick, and things are starting to get back on track, but we'll see how that trends. This is total accumulation of precipitation, and this will be valid again next Monday morning. We're talking about out around the 6th of July. So in general, probably the heaviest rainfall associated with some kind of a baroclinic zone, a little bit cool to the north, but weather systems will be tracking more or less to the south of our region, but definitely close enough to enhance some of the showers and thunderstorms. But at this point in time, I don't see anything major that is going to be a big, large synoptic scale. It looks like it's going to go really to the south of New England, but the Ohio River Valley is looks like it's going to get unloaded on. And for us, a little bit further north you go, you're seeing the half-inch line here in this green, and even just a quarter-inch line further north up in Canada. This is definitely associated with cold weather pattern. And that cold weather pattern up to the north kind of indicated behind and blowing in from the north and dropping in, lowering some of the temperatures. This is the maximum temperature anomalies. This would be valid, it looks like, through Saturday night. And you can see for Vermont and New England, a lot of the Northeast, we're kind of neutral right now. A little bit above, a little bit below. The major heat wave continues across the Pacific Northwest, and this is associated with this very large ridge of higher pressure, and this is associated with that cooler air funneling into Canada. Checking it 3 days later, this is how it shapes up. Again, heat ridge, colder than normal weather in the middle of the country, near normal along the coast, a little bit of a rise now, with the Bermuda High trying to build back just a little bit, increasing the temperatures at least in the Carolinas. Quick look at the general trends here. It looks like the warmest day of the week is actually going to be on Tuesday, and then it returns and makes a run for us on Friday. But I think Tuesday is going to be just a little bit warmer with a little bit of a funneling in of slightly cooler air from Canada. Also a little bit more in the way of humidity. And let's take a look at the dew point temperatures here at the Iowa State Meteogram centered on Montpelier, Vermont. You can see dew point temperatures basically in the 50s, but do make a rise between 60 and 65 degrees. This will be valid Tuesday afternoon. Drops a little bit during the evening hours, Tuesday evening, Tuesday night, and then Wednesday it maxes out. A little bit of a downtick. I am thinking that the European model is trying to uptick this a little bit more with higher dew point temperatures also on Thursday, and then a little bit more of a downtick thereafter for basically along about the 4th of July weekend. However, I would not trust a whole lot of the data much past about this coming Friday. And you can see the sort of steady diet of daily little upticks and flare-ups of convection. We're talking about scattered or widely scattered showers and thunderstorms. A little bit more robust, it looks like, on Wednesday, maybe perhaps Thursday as well. A little bit of a better couple days potentially, maybe Friday and continuing into Saturday. Friday has its own individual threat, and we'll show that here. So looking at the European model at 2 p.m. on Monday, there's 8 o'clock this evening. We're looking at still some leftover scattered, very light precipitation, nothing major here. But we do have this little weather system that's going to be spinning up. It will eventually work on in, bring a little bit of a south breeze that'll blow in some slightly more humid air and also raise the temperatures a bit. This is valid, looks like about 2 o'clock in the morning on early Wednesday morning. So we get into just a little bit of isolated or very widely scattered showers and thunderstorms there. Nothing major. A little bit of an uptick here. This is Wednesday afternoon. Winds aloft will be a little bit more robust, especially in the southern areas, less in the northern areas. So we'll have to watch out for any organization of any afternoon convection. And then we get into a little bit of a break in the action. Slightly drier air, slightly cooler air works on in. But then on Thursday afternoon, we have another little flare up here. Looks like the winds aloft not quite as strong, so a little bit less organization, but some popcorn shower and thunderstorm activity more than likely as we get into the late part of the day on Thursday. Then eventually high pressure builds in. It's kind of weak and limited, but we do have this threat here of another weather system, separate, basically split jet stream flow tracking in. This is the area that's going to have the most precipitation, as you showed on that other chart showing accumulated precipitation effects. Anyway, this is going to be tracking off to the south of us, and so this has a little bit of a threat on our weather for Friday. Much beyond that, I would not count on this, but it does look like something tries to move through on Saturday, and then the high pressure builds in, looks like along about Sunday. However, again, I would not count on this. I'm watching the computer models really shift a lot. Here's 12 hours earlier, just to give you an idea. That doesn't look too bad, but check this out. You see the differences here, and then even further back, there's a lot of differences going on. So once again, models a little bit on the shaky side. And what we're looking at here is the strength of the big heat ridge that's out west across the Pacific Northwest and parts of California, and then up into British Columbia, Canada. You can see it's very, very strong. It's maxing out, but it is forecast to start to wane. And then the Arctic oscillation is forecast to be consistently below normal. In other words, feeding in slightly cooler air. And then looking at the North Atlantic oscillation, this looks like it's in the process of also becoming a little bit more of a trough through the month, or at least the first half of July, somewhere in our vicinity. So that means occasionally some cooler bouts and also some shots of warmer conditions and more humid and higher precipitable waters, making for showers and thunderstorms and perhaps exacerbating already very saturated ground. But it does look like it'll be more or less unsettled with this kind of weather pattern. The other thing I would want to show you here is looking at the North Pole and the northern Arctic area, northern hemisphere. You can see where the coldest temperatures are, and there are some gyres up in the Arctic Ocean now with low ice levels. But watching any kind of major push of cooler air, this will be the trend, because there is a ridge of higher pressure here, and the airflow will more than likely come through the Canadian prairies and into Vermont. And Vermont, of course, is looking like this at this point. We can see slightly cooler conditions. This is the gradient wind effects that we had a couple days ago. and now that is exiting well off to out to sea. That's it from here. Roger Hill, Wuthering Heights.